Hi everyone, it's the Tides Changing here, and welcome to part 8 of Let's Build a Factory House. Last time, a lot of you said that you felt like the living room was a bit bland and needed more color to it, so I changed a rug to a color that had some red in it, which hopefully will help. Also, Joe said I should try switching the massage chair with the matching Get to Work one, which I do think looks a little bit better, and then Orangery said I should try adding in a welcome mat. Here I'm changing the painting at the top of the stairs because Ryan pointed out that the coloring seemed a little bit odd with the rest of the room, which I did agree with after I looked at it again, so I swapped it out for another one of the colorings of the same painting, so this is the one that I ended up going with. I also swapped out the table the TV was on for the one that matched the coffee table, and a lot of you liked the idea of a bookshelf back there but didn't like that same bookshelf. So I tried out that one with a plant next to it, but what I ended up going for was the other industrial one that's a little bit wider, and I just got rid of the plant. Also, I know this living room has sort of a strange layout, but I decided to just keep the layout because I liked it, and it is an odd space, so it's going to have an odd layout, and I just felt like this is the best way to arrange things. I know it's a little odd that the TV is just up against a railing, but there wasn't a ton of wall space to put it, and I didn't want to have a TV just in the middle of the floor, so I figured that was the best spot to put it. But there was where I swapped out that bookshelf for the one I ended up keeping. So I think this is just about it for the living room area. I just stuck a little light up near the ceiling just to make it look a little bit brighter. And I did try out adding a few things onto these walls above the living area, but I decided to just leave the walls blank because with the lights and the stairs, I felt like there was enough going on. I didn't really need to have stuff on those walls as well. I also made a few changes to the bathroom. Priscilla said that there was too much black in the bathroom and suggested I change the color of the towels to help with that. So I changed all the towels to more of a white color. And then after that, all I really changed was just adding some more clutter onto the counters here, because the Enidam said that they felt like this bathroom didn't have enough clutter to be a kids and teen bathroom. Now that that's done, I'm going to move on to the bedrooms, and my goal for this part is to finish both of the teen bedrooms, which will be these two. Hopefully it shouldn't take me too long to do that, because I don't want to end up with like an hour-long part, but these aren't huge rooms, so they shouldn't take too long to furnish. But I'm going to start off with this one, and as far as the theme goes, Emily suggested that I make an eccentric artist room with some funky pieces of furniture in it, so I thought that could be pretty cool to do here, and I think would also fit in with the sort of eccentric theme of this place. So as far as the bed goes, I was thinking that that artist one, this one right here, would be perfect for it. So it does have this really cool coloring for it, which is this one right here, which I don't think I've ever really used before. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to use that in this room, so I'll just have it there. Let's also get a light in here. So we'll just stick this one in the center, and then we also need the flooring, so I'm just gonna use this one here. I wasn't holding shift down. Okay. And for the wall coloring, we could have, I have thought about this a little bit. So I was thinking, oh, do I have I think I have the move object sheet on still. Okay, there we go, now it's off. Anyway, we could use this one right here, along this wall and this wall, and then I did want to use yellow somewhere in this house, so that could be used as an accent color along this wall. Just because I feel like it would be way too much if I used it all over here, like here, and yeah, I think it's maybe that's not too bad, but maybe it's a little bit too much to use that. Actually, let me compare that to the brick. You know what? The yellow might actually look better. I'm surprised that was the conclusion I came to, but yeah, I think it actually looks a little bit nicer and brighter with the yellow, and at least you have brick on these two walls, so it's not like it's yellow all over the whole room. But we'll also get this, and as far as what goes where, I was thinking we could have a desk right here and then a dresser and mirror area over here, maybe a TV on top of the dresser. I mean, I could have an art area, like an art easel in here, but I was planning on putting an art area in the third floor. So I figured that could be this, whatever sim has this room's art area, so that could be where they go to do the actual painting. So yeah, we'll just have a desk over here. Okay, no, that's not study. Alright, what desk do we want to use? We could go with this. Oh, I'm gonna get that cheat back on now that we figured out the wallpaper. So we could just go simple and have this little white desk. Not a kid's desk. We could have this one. Maybe it'd be kind of cool if we could find a blue desk. But then again, this room is supposed to have sort of an eccentric look to it, so not everything has to match. Oh, we have this one. This could look sort of cool. So we have in a gray color. Another thought I had was that we could use, whoops, like grab that. But I was thinking we could also use this desk, which is the police desk, and it could just be, I don't know, they got recycled office furniture or something like that. So I think either of these would look pretty good. Like, which looks better? For whatever reason, the office type desk just looks a little bit better to me. I guess it's because it's simpler. Yeah, I think the simpler desk looks better. This one is another option. This one might also look pretty nice in here. Sorry for being so indecisive about the desks. The only problem with this bed is that there's nothing else in a set that goes with it, so you have to end up mixing and matching. But I like this, and I see this being the room of someone who just gets their furniture from a whole bunch of different places. Like I said, this you could think of this as rejected office furniture. And then they got a cool modern bubble chair with it. I really like this chair, so I keep using it. And then as far as the desk lamp goes, we could throw in a yellow one for a little bit more color over here. Although the only thing is that's a different, it's more of a goldish yellow than this. Now that I'm getting more furniture in here, I'm thinking that it may have been better to just go with this. So I'm just gonna go back to having this brick all along here and then just leaving this as a yellow accent wall. Okay, yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. I just really wanted to have that yellow lamp, and it was a slightly different yellow than the walls. So to me it just didn't look quite right, but I mean, I think it's fine when it's across the room like this. But anyway, now to continue on with this desk area. Okay, I have a feeling this room's probably going to take a bit longer to do than the other one. But for here, let's go with this book stack, since I did use the cookbooks in a couple of other places. So we'll just trying to get it to not snap. Okay, so I think there's good. Let's see what other colors we have. Okay, so we just got these. Let's go with this color. Yeah, we'll go with that. We also want to get a pencil cup in. I'll just stick it right there on the corner. Okay, so I don't know how much else we need for the desk. I actually don't really like that book stack, so I'm just gonna go with this one. Alright, we got that in place. What kind of color? Yeah, I think this one doesn't really look like cookbooks, so that one's fine. And there were also those decorations, where was it? The ones that look like sketches? Yeah, these. I think this would be perfect above the bed. And then for above the desk, I was thinking we could have some shelves with some paintings on them. That could look sort of cool. We could even go, okay, that's like the kids' shelf. It could be kind of cool to go with this type of shelf. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we can just have two of these like this and just put paintings and books and that sort of thing on it. Actually, since we already have this here, instead of having paintings on these shelves, it might be better to just put some books and that sort of thing. So what I will do is get rid of this, so that way it doesn't look like too many books once I get the books on the shelves, and then just have the pencil cup over here. And then we'll see how it looks once we get a bunch of books on these shelves. I'm actually going to move that so I don't have to deal with books snapping to it. I'll see how it looks once we get the books in, and maybe I'll add more on top of the desk. I just don't want to look too busy. Alright, so we can just have We can just move it so the shelf's up at that height. Alright, so we'll do that. I also wanted to put in a computer, so I'll go with one of the cheaper ones, but not the cheapest. I think this one will be good. And we'll move that there. I also think it'd be good to have a clock here, so just in this little area between the shelves, so we'll just stick that in there. There is also this one, but no, I'll stick with the simpler clock. Alright, so this is what we have so far for this room. And how would it look? It might look better if we take those. Yeah, I think it looks better with this over here. Since there is already a lot going on this wall, so we can just leave this area above the bed blank so it doesn't look too busy over here. And I also want to see how it will look to throw in a poster over here. So we can add in this one. Yeah, I like how that looks. And I also want to put in some kind of rug right under here. So we can just go with a nice light beige color, or we could even go with there was this fainter blue one. Yeah, I think the softer blue one goes better with the bed. Alright, so there we go. That is the desk area. Okay, that's it for that side of the room for now. So I'm going to move over here, which is going to be the whole dressing area. And I'm just going to get rid of that whole arch thing I had down there because it's popping up through here and I don't really know how to cover it up. For the dresser, I was thinking it would be cool to use that old beaten-up looking one. Just because I think it would go with the whole sort of getting furniture secondhand from various places theme. Okay, so what coloring do we want for this? We have gray. Gray. I think either gray or black would be good for this room. Which looks better? I think the gray looks a little bit better. Yeah, I'll stick with the gray. And on top of it, I wanted to have a TV. So I'll just use this one. But I'm going to move it, see if I can get it more towards the center. Ah! Snapped. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, I think that placement of it's fine, although we can move this a bit. Okay, so now, alright, so now it's there, that seems good to me, and then we can also throw in some knick-knack type stuff that you'd usually have on top of dressers. Like, we could add in some perfume, change that to this color. Let's also get some of this as well. And then we'll just go with that. Okay, so I think that's enough of that kind of stuff up here. I also wanted to get some kind of mirror in. So I'm not sure if I want to go with a floor mirror like this. Or another thought I had was that I could use this wall mirror in this color. I think that looks pretty nice up against that. And if this yellow seems like it's too bright, then something else I could do is just go with a gray on this wall. I actually like how this mirror looks. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with. I actually like it. Okay, what else do we want to have right here? I think we need something else. We could add in a hamper. That can go just right here next to the dresser. I guess that looks fine. Something about this just looks sort of odd to me. I don't know what it is. I think I like the white better. Yeah, I'll just stick with that. We could also have some dirty clothes next to it, like they tried to get it into there, but didn't quite make it. Okay, so that was this right here. Yeah, so I'll just have this partially under it, and that's going to be the only pile of dirty clothes that I put into this room. Actually, let's get this over a little more. You know what? Let's get rid of that. That actually doesn't look that good. There were also the stack of canvas item. I really wanted to put that somewhere in here. So we could definitely get that right up against this wall. And I don't know why the camera's being so wonky. I like this coloring. Which coloring? I guess I'll go with this one. So that could just be some of their artwork that they stuck up against the wall there. Alright, so this room's almost done. Let's see how another rug looks like in this area. This one could look nice, this black rose rug. Okay, yeah, we can go with that. Alright, so there we go. That's pretty much the finished artist room. On second thought, we probably don't need to have that rug right there. Yeah, I'll just take that out and you all can let me know whether or not you think there should be a rug there. It's probably a little bit too busy if there is one. But yeah, this is pretty much it for this room. I'm going to move on from it and then you all can let me know what tweaks you think it needs. I think it still does have sort of an artist look to it even though there's not an easel in here. Since you do have the sketch and these paintings, and then you also have a bed with Starry Night on it. So yeah, hopefully it gives enough of that look. Another option, another thing we could do is put some more of these sketches up here above the dresser. I'll just leave it there for the time being and move on. Okay, so for this room, Mara suggested that I make a room for a teen who wants to be a rock star and is also into computer gaming. And I thought that mixing those two interests could be pretty fun, so that's what I'm going to do for this one. Alright, so we'll start off by getting the lighting in so we can see everything. And this room's going to have more of a modern look to it. For the wall color in this room, I think a darker one would be best. So I wanted to try out this color right here. Oh, whoops, okay. So I'm going to get the move object sheet back off again. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I wanted to put this color here and here. And then along this wall, just so we have something different, I wanted to add in that plaster. Alright, so there we go. There are our wall colorings. And for the bed, I wanted to use this one that I originally had in the master bedroom. And since the wall color is darker, I should probably go something a little bit lighter for the bed. Like maybe not this one. Oh, we do have this one, which I think would look really nice in here. There is also this one. I think it's between either this one or this one. I really like both of these bedspreads. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Yeah, we'll go with that. Let's also get the window covering, so I'll just stick those in. Next, I wanted to work on the whole desk area. And I was thinking about doing an L-shaped desk, but this room isn't very big, so it would probably take up a lot of space that I could use for other things if I were to do that. So I'm just going to go with this desk, and then for the desk chair, I'm going to stick with the regular old office leather type chair. And then as far as the computer goes, I definitely want to go with a nicer one. I could go with this one, but it's ridiculously expensive. Although that doesn't really matter because I'm not making this on a budget, but still, I feel like I should go something a little bit cheaper than that. So I'm going to go with this one, which is still a pretty nice one, but not quite that expensive. And I like this green coloring. Alright, so we got that. Next we need the desk lamp. So I'm just going to go with the regular one that I usually use. And let's have it in a white color. It's a lot easier to move stuff around like this with this desk, because you don't have other stuff underneath of it. But we'll get a little further over this way. And then we, of course, need a pencil cup. So let's just throw that in over here. And there was also that stack of CDs item, so we can also have that over here as well. And I'm going to go with... let's go with this. Oh, I think that has the same Rockstar guy that's on the poster on it. Okay, well, that's cool. That's perfect for this room. We can also have some books on here. Actually, I'm just going to leave it as that for the desk. I also wanted to add in one of the backpacks, which is right here. So I'll just stick that a little bit under the desk. Or we can just stick it right here. Yeah, we'll just have it here next to the wall. And let's go with the skull and crossbones coloring for it. I also wanted to have a bunch of posters here, so this one we can have it blown up. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then get a whole bunch of other ones, so we can have this one over here as well. And what else? We can add in this one. And perhaps one other. Like, we can just throw this one up here. Alright, so that's posters over there. Let's also throw in one of these under here. Might look neat to go with the bright green. How does that look? I think, was there an orange? There is this one. I don't like that as much. Now I think I'll go with the green. I think it makes it look a bit brighter. Above the bed, I guess we can have more posters. Or maybe some kind of artwork. I think it'd be kind of cool to have there. I'll have just that above the bed. And over here I wanted to have a dresser, maybe. Oh yeah, definitely some guitars somewhere. So let's get a dresser in. Or we could just have a wardrobe in there. Now I'll go with the actual dresser. Alright, so we'll just have it in the black color. And I'll just stick in a hamper next to it. Alright, so we just have it sort of crooked like that next to it. But for above it, I think this would be a cool mirror to have, so we could have a couple of these. I do really like this mirror. And this room definitely has a more modern look to it. Okay, maybe that mirror doesn't work quite as well since it doesn't exactly match it. It would have been cool if they would match up when you put them next to each other. I do have the spotty one. What I have done before that looked pretty good was I just took two mirrors like this and just moved them so they're right up next to each other. So I'll just do that again for this room. Actually, okay, so I think if we move that in, that'll be center. Okay, that looks good to me. Let's go with the black coloring for it to go with the dresser. And I also wanted to, should we have a TV somewhere? Maybe we could have a TV on the dresser. And then I also wanted to have an area for some instruments. And maybe we could have a chair in the corner. Yeah, I think that'd be cool to have a chair in the corner. Alright, so on top of the dresser, I'm going to stick in a TV so that this room has one too. And I'm just going to use the same TV I used over in the other bedroom. Okay, actually, let's move the dresser out of the way and then get it placed this way. So we'll just have it turned towards the bed. Alright, I think that's a good spot for it. And on top of here, we can just add in some clothes, that sort of thing. The regular old stuff you stick up here. Whoops. Okay, don't quite like where that's snapping to, so just turn it slightly. Let's go with, we'll go with the one that has a purple shirt, and also some other color type items. So we can throw one of these in. Just have that here. We'll go with, let's go with this color. Putting in one of these things that are in the bathroom would also work pretty well. So we'll just have that sort of in the front like this. And I'm not sure, is that enough? There might be enough stuff on here. Yeah, I guess that is. Actually, I want to move this forward a little bit. I'm not really sure what else I could stick on here. We could throw in this. Yeah, I think that would be another thing that works pretty well. So we can have that just sort of behind the TV. And perhaps move this over a little bit. And then move this over as well. And oh yeah, let's also move this over so you can actually sort of see it. And then I think that should be enough on the dresser here. Alright, that looks good to me. We still have this area over here to furnish, and I wanted to add in a couple guitars. So let's get those in. Oh, we do have the one that came with Outdoor Retreat. This one's pretty cool. So I'm just going to put in a couple of them. As far as the color goes, let's go with... Let's see, what colors do we have? We have this blue, this red, orange-ish color. Let's go with the blue. And then, so we have the original guitar here, and then we have this crafted one. There's also the Freezer Bunny guitar. Don't know if I'm going to go with that. Oh, there's this really cool one that's supposed to look like it's signed. Yeah, let's go with that one. Let's see, this one has... Oh, that's kind of a cool coloring. Yeah, let's go with that one. And we still have to take up this space. I could put in a nice big bookshelf just to take that up because I'm not really sure what else to do with it. Yeah, so this one could look pretty nice in there. So we'll just add that in. They could also be into reading. This room's just about done now. Definitely could use some improvements. I definitely like this bedroom more than this one. I'm not really feeling this wall over here, but I'm not quite sure what else to do with it. So if any of you have any ideas for what I can do to make this area look a little bit better, I'd love to hear that. But I'm just gonna end this part here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and bye!